You know, I don't think that it's the dishes themselves that people don't like doing. Whole added task part. I think it's about time I clean up the mess on the counter. Got some projects I want to do after some iced coffee. Well, during some iced coffee. My dog's out sniffing around my smoker grill. She knows that's where the goodness comes from. She just can't get to anything because it's covered. Come on, ice maker. Fill up my cup. Add a little stevia, because Pappy Jack's got to stay away from the sugar. Some coffee. Splash a half and half. I mix my own. I put my own flavor in it. I reuse these things that you get from the grocery store. And then I put my own flavor in it so you don't get all the sugar. That's very good. See if the dog wants to come in. Maybe she's chasing a lizard out there. What are you sniffing around for? Did you see a lizard? Let's shed a little light on the subjects. Hard Rock Tampa really wants me to come back. They're like, please come back. We like it when you leave your money here. But I'm a budget player, so I won't leave all my money there. One thing I wish they would do there, though, is they could probably keep you in the casino longer if they comped you more free stuff. Like casinos used to comp your drinks. If you're sitting at a machine for a while, they come around with comp your drinks and you just tip the waitress. It's not something that I know that they do anymore. I gambled years and years ago in New Orleans, and I think they used to comp all the drinks. I mean, you'd think the casino would see the value in that, keep you at your machine longer. I don't know if you can see my nails from there. I was pulling weeds out front, so I'm gonna do these dishes and then clean my nails. Never trust a gardener with clean fingernails. I guess I gotta empty that first. Those bananas are on their last day over there, turning brown. But I was gonna use them to start my cucumber seeds, because if you just take some smashed banana and you put the cucumber seeds in it and then you bury that, it makes an environment for germinating that seed very quickly. You can also just use part of the cucumber that the seeds came from if you still have them around, because that's what nature does anyway. The flesh of the fruit is a very good starting place for new seeds. You know, I don't think that it's the dishes themselves that people don't like doing. I think it's the extra work in loading and unloading the dishwasher, which is ironic because the dishwasher is supposed to make your experience in washing dishes easier. I think it's just the whole added task part. Glass storage containers are great. They're just really expensive. Speaking of gambling and watching slot videos, I find it very entertaining because it's not my money. Some of these people, though, they gamble so much. It makes you wonder how much money they really make, because you cannot win on a slot machine. You can't win. The return to player is usually at the highest. I think it's about 90% of everything you put in, which means you'd still lose. Some of them are even worse, like the ones that are in, like outside of Vegas. Most of them claim to follow the Vegas rules for return to player. I know on cruise ships that it's even worse than that. I think you get down towards like 87%, maybe lower. Slot machines is that you could hit the big one. And it's fun when you do. It's just not realistic to think that you're gonna make money doing it. I think we're done putting stuff away, except for this. The big pan that I couldn't find the other day when it was right in front of me. Okay, now we can load this sucker up. Make sure that there's no heavy stuff stuck on these before we put them in. I don't know if any of you remember that commercial. There's that little kid doing a reaction to loading the dishwasher. And she said, if you have to wash the dishes before you put them in the dishwasher, what does the dishwasher do? And then she got semi-famous for a while. She was all over the internet. It was cute. I'm gonna wash the coffee mug by hand. I almost forgot how not to get a wet spot on your belly. Put a towel right there. So when you load the dishwasher, are you a working end down kind of person or working end up? Spoons and forks, I always put up. Knives, point down, unless it's a butter knife, and then it can be up, so you don't accidentally poke yourself with the sharp ones. My wife asking me if I'm on strike because I haven't done the dishes. Yeah, that's a little bit of grease you're gonna have to clean out of there. Water pressure is always low this time of day. We're not really near anything industrial on the water grid, but the water authority isn't very far from here. And sometimes they do maintenance during the day, so they have to reduce the pressure in the lines. They're putting a new housing plan down the street a little bit, so that might be, if they're filling their grid, because it's probably a good 5-6 acres. They're putting some small homes in and maybe some apartments. A lot of people coming to the south need housing. These things I keep when I get them from, like they were empty of creamer. I keep them, I rinse them out, and then I make my own and just keep them clean. Upcycling. I'll take that off after it's clean. Keep trying to get up the gumption to make pickles. The cucumbers, we let them overgrow, so they're not like, you know, the picture perfect green like you have on vines as they started to turn a little white, but they're not bitter or anything, and they're not woody. I did have to compost some of them because they had gone past their prime because we didn't eat them all, but that's okay. They are making happy dirt in my compost bin. I did a video on that compost bin. And you don't need a compost bin to do composting. All you need to do is keep it aerated by turning it once in a while. Make sure that you have some sticks, bark, even mulch, water, and time. And you've got what you need to make great mulch. Ideally, it takes about a year. The more you turn it, the more you keep running the water through it. Not a lot, you just sprinkle some in there. Organics will turn into usable soil. I throw grass clippings in there with the leftover food waste. But do not put meat in there. Not only does it attract critters, it can get rancid and it's not good for the soil. And it takes a lot longer for it to decompose. But you can put eggshells in there, cut vegetables, pieces of whatever you don't consume anyway. Peanut shells, because we like shelled peanuts. That is just sitting there, it's not dirty. This had cucumber water in it. I just fixed my garbage disposal last week. You got to disassemble it, take it off the bottom of the sink, and then disassemble the rest of it. It had a screw in it, and it stuck on the outside ring where the teeth are that chews things up. And I couldn't get it out of there until I popped off the bottom of the garbage disposal so that the teeth came loose from the inside, and then it fell out. And it didn't come from the garbage disposal. I checked. So anyway, that's fixed. I don't know if people even really need garbage disposals, because truthfully, I don't put stuff down the drain to grind it up. I might turn it on if something fell in there. But if you didn't have a garbage disposal and it was just a regular drain and when you had the mesh in it, it wouldn't go in there anyway. And anything small enough to get into a regular drain would wash out because the other side of the sink doesn't have a garbage disposal and it doesn't clog up. I don't know. So I think it's just one of those things where people think they need them because it sounds fancy. When I was a kid, people had trash compactors. That was the big thing. You pull out a drawer next to the sink, put your trash in there, turn it on, squishes it up. I don't know why we need that, because you don't see it anymore. I don't know anybody's got one. It's just another one of those fancy things Suburbia was told that they need. We're gonna wash this out the old school way. Put scrubby in there, and you pretend like you're the washing machine. And then, if your hands are big like mine, you can get them in there, get all the corners. Anything that didn't touch. Yeah, that's the thing about having a busy kitchen. If you're always cooking, you're always going to have bowls to wash. Cindy and I fantasize about having a maid, not because we think that cleaning is beneath us, it's a pain. That needs cleaned. I don't know if you can get that out of there. Let's see if we can do it without breaking anything. Using a non-sharp knife, I want to take that seal off of there. I'm going to wash that separately. I'm going to run it through the dishwasher, loosen that stuff up. I should look at my coffee cups too. Now that's just discoloration from it, so we'll put that in here. This, I was making sure I was getting it clean because it's really handy. It keeps stuff cold, it keeps stuff hot. You know, the technology behind this thing, and the whole reason it works, and this is a Stanley, these don't have a glass interior. Thermoses do. Now, when you say the word thermos, it's a generic term. Put it on paper or anything else with a capital T, it's in reference to the company that makes them, which is Thermos. But if you use a lowercase t because a court determined that it's a generic term, They said as long as you use a lowercase t, you can call anything else that stores liquids hot or cold a thermos. So this is a Stanley, which was invented after the thermos was invented. People call it a Stanley thermos anyway. There's no glass. This is built exactly like this cup is. If you could cut one of these in half and look at it, maybe I can find a picture and show you a cross section. The reason why it stays cold or hot is because the only part of the inside of the cup that even touches the outside is the rim, where it's pressed in. Because the inside part is actually hanging from this upper edge on the inside of the cup and doesn't touch it at all the way down the sides. So the insulating properties are that whatever is outside has to pass through that plenum to get to the inside to even make a difference, which is why you can put ice in here to last all day. Or you can put hot coffee in it, and the hot coffee lasts a long time. Because it doesn't shed its heat out as readily, or it doesn't take the heat in that makes something not cold. These work the same way. There's a sleeve inside of here that goes all the way down but doesn't touch the bottom, and it just hangs from the top here where it's put together and sealed. That's why they work so well. Stanley makes them, everybody makes them. I guess the Stanley mug is still the best. Insulated mug. I don't know that because I don't own any of those. This holds 1 quart. This is a Stanley. Aladdin had bought the company back in the 60s, I think. I'm looking for where it was made. I think they made them in New Jersey and Tennessee. Aladdin Industries, Inc. This was made in Tennessee. American made. Zip code 27210. Nashville, Tennessee. America. You can still get these, but they're not made in Tennessee. None of them are made in America anymore. And that was today's history lesson on Stanley products. Gotta admit though, what they did, what Stanley did, and ultimately their parent company, getting influencers to push the product, and from there it just took off. And that's why the Stanley is so popular now. I need something to put that oil in, because you don't want to dump oil down your drain, which is why I keep these. Do not put oil in your compost, because for the same reason why you don't want to put animal products in there. This does not break down as readily. This was oil from our zucchini fry, because we had so many big zucchinis. It was very good. Now, I didn't document that, but if you want really crispy zucchini, fried zucchinis, and this was peanut oil, by the way, because peanut oil, it has a higher tolerance for temperature, and it's not full of all kinds of nasty crap like seed oils. Peanut oil is great. Peanut oil or coconut oil. Some people don't like coconut oil though because of because it can make things taste like coconut. Not really very much, but if you don't like coconut, you're not going to like coconut oil. The peanut oil is basically, it doesn't transfer any taste, so it's pretty good. So I am going to save that oil and put some used paper towels in there so it doesn't splish splash all over when I put it in the trash can. We use a lot of paper towels. Not unnecessarily, but we use a lot of paper towels. And that's one of those things where you're like, well, they come from trees and you don't want to be having trees cut down and make paper towels out of. They're made from wood pulp, and it's not even frontline wood that they use. It's just like stuff that can't be used for boards or furniture or something. They use it to make paper towels. And it's sustainable because the lumber companies and companies that get this wood pulp product have to prove that it is sustainable and that their forest is being replaced that it was taken from. I don't know about other countries, but that's the law in the United States. So, I mean, compared to cloth, which, I mean, if you're using a washcloth, you know how they get to smelling. I mean, they have reusable towels that look like paper towels, and you wash those. But then you end up, I mean, then you're using water and you're using soap. What's the winner? The waste from extra water and soap products to wash these things, or just using a paper towel? I do only buy the kind that you can pick a size, because sometimes you don't need a paper towel this big. You just need a little one. Look at me being earth responsible. Actually, I've been recycling since my kids were born. You get that, become a parent, you get that, well, what can I do better kind of feeling, you know? And for me it was, well, we should probably do our best to use less and be conscious of what we do use. So I started recycling. Started out with a couple of small bins that I would keep under the sink, and that grew into recycling bins. And then that grew into more recycling bins when we had to separate even more kinds. Our county, unfortunately, does not have curbside pickup for recycling. I think a lot more people would do it. It's just a cost because they don't make enough off of the materials to justify paying employees and maintenance on trucks and stuff like that. So I understand why. So we just put it in the truck and take it to the recycling center. You probably saw that video of me taking the dogs on an adventure. They always look at me like, where are you going? Where are you taking me, human? It's enrichment for the dogs to get away, get out of the house. I mean, we have a yard, but change of scenery is always good. All right, now this. We're gonna make sure that whatever's left of this little bit of oil is emulsified so it doesn't do something bad to the pipes. Stuff you don't think about when you're renting. Stuff you do think about when you're paying for your own house. Pappy Jack likes his projects, but I don't want to have to get somebody out here to fix my plumbing. Stuff under the sink, but I can't fix stuff under the ground. Have to open the clean out. Have to get a plumber out here to run a router in the lines. I don't want to have anything to do with that. Sounds expensive. This I'm going to take in the other room for Pickles. Our dining room table has become the catch-all for prep for about 3 different projects, at least. That and boxes we keep. But I've got the table covered in cucumbers and seeds that I'm drying out from all the stuff that I've pulled from the garden and saved the seeds for. This baking soda is because I'm about to make some antifungal and enrichment for the soil in the gardens. Baking soda, turmeric, a very minuscule amount of vegetable-based dish soap that I have. So not this. I would not put this in the garden. It works great. It's great for dishes. It's not good for the purpose of making this antifungal stew that I'm going to make because it's based on vegetables and you only use a little anyway. So basically the recipe is about 2 tablespoons of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of that safe dish soap. You can also use baby shampoo, the tear-free stuff. 1 teaspoon of that in a gallon. And then you make sure it's all mixed because it takes a little bit of work. But mix it all up. Use rainwater if you have it, or non-chlorinated, non-fluoridated water. And then you use that in a sprayer. And you apply it to the top of the leaves and the bottom of the leaves. Ideally in the early morning or evening. And since I missed the early morning, it's kind of overcast today, so I don't feel too guilty about doing it during the day. Sometimes the bright sunlight can get magnified by the droplets of anything that you put on leaves, and it'll leave the little brown spots where it burns it, like a magnifying glass. Also, we use paper plates. They're made much in the same way that paper towels are, with the same kind of materials. You get new pans, and they look like that on the bottom. That's something, because over time, anything that's spilled on the pan, you know how the bottom will get all brown. There's a trick to get that off there with Dawn dishwashing liquid, baking soda, and I think lemon juice. And you soak paper towels with it, and then you let it sit upside down on it, and it loosens that organic material up and comes off, which I think is pretty cool. I'll have to try that sometime on one of the older pans. We have some really nice stainless steel ones too that we got 30 years ago. We bought them at Costco. So they're Kirkland brand, but they were made in Italy. And they're great pans. They have a copper ring because it's a bonded copper to stainless steel in the bottom, so they heat really evenly. We just don't use them as much as the other pans. You know, I was thinking about it. I don't have any fresh pet peeves this week. I don't know what it is about drivers versus pickup trucks. I have a pickup truck. It's not huge, but it's big. But they weigh a lot more than a car. And people in traffic, when you're on multi-lane roads, they see whatever space is available in front of you as an opportunity to just zip in there. And they don't always give you enough room to react. And if you don't have your head on a swivel, man, it could be bad. And then people would vilify the driver of the because you were going too fast with that big truck. I'm glad, because I put a camera on my windshield on purpose because, I mean, I hope nobody ever gets hurt, but the day that somebody does that to me, I want there to be video evidence of it. I see people doing that have a carload of kids. I mean, nothing can be that important. feel it necessary to risk everybody's well-being in your own vehicle, not to mention the other drivers. I think that's about it over here. Until I make my fungus soup in a bit. I'll leave the soap out because we're going to use it again. This is for the garden. This is for the garden. Set this in the side of the trash because I don't want to knock it over. Oh, Cindy's going to think I'm being a smartass, but I'm going to take a picture and send it to her because she's at work. But I'm going to take a picture and send it to her because it's me going nah 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 nah. Let me get the drone shot. Send that to her. So like that. Okay. Until later.